Yeah?
It's Wine Wednesday.
It certainly is. You know, chocolate pairs really nice with wine.
Oh, it certainly does.
Right?
And we're getting a little help set up for your Valentine's Day next week.
Yes, that's right. Marcy's at Seaside Wine and Spirits down in Old Saybrook with some incredible ideas. And Marcy, you know what else is incredible? Their tasting room. I think every liquor store needs a tasting room like that.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I know we're in your neck of the woods, Nicole. We're so excited. We're talking about Valentine's Day wine with the most knowledgeable guy I know when it comes to wines, Julius Angelini. So we have already sped through all 4 wines that we were supposed to get to. I don't know. It was just in front of me. There were empty glasses. I don't know what happened. I blacked out. Okay, so we've got the Prosecco, which I think this is so interesting. It's a Rosé Prosecco, which you said hasn't been around for that long.
No, they just approved it in 2020, so it's fairly new. They've been talking about this for a long time. The thing about Prosecco, everybody loves Prosecco. It's probably the #1 sparkling wine in the world now because everybody drinks Prosecco.
Right.
So they wanted to make something rosé, but they wanted also to make it something true to the identity of the Prosecco. So what they did is they made, by law, it has to have 85% Prosecco and 15% Pinot Noir. But only
I would
Pinot
love
Noir.
to be the person that's in charge of regulating that law and be like, you know what, I'm going to have to try this and see if you're following the rules. That's so interesting. And for everybody at home who's like, wait a second, I feel like I've had Prosecco Rosé other times before 2020. You probably had a Rosé Champagne or sparkling Rosé, right?
Exactly. No, not Prosecco
Rosé.
Rosé.
Okay, got it.
And also, the Pinot Noir has to come from Veneto, the area where Prosecco is from, which is just north of Venice. So it's a very small amount. So they actually, it's harder to make Prosecco Rosé because it's harder to get the Pinot Noir grape because now everybody wants Pinot Noir.
Oh, that's so interesting.
To add to their Prosecco. And there's only so much of it. So now they're planting more and more Pinot Noir, but it's been a huge problem even just getting it.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting thing that I wanted to ask about. When something becomes, you know, in vogue or everybody all of a sudden wants it, is that tough on the wine production and distributors and everything?
Yeah, because it always happens with something that you don't have, of course.
Right. Yes, exactly.
That's what always happens. But but I think with Prosecco, they've done a really nice job. The category in general, first of all, it's less expensive than more sparkling wines. So I think Cava from Spain and Prosecco from Italy are in that $15 to $20 range, which is a beautiful, it's a sweet spot. And if you see how they actually pick the grapes in Prosecco, it's really, really steep.
Okay.
All done by hand.
Oh, that makes me nervous.
And so it's amazing that it's actually this inexpensive.
Yes, I would imagine they're not drinking Prosecco while they're doing that because that's a dangerous little activity if you've had a few glasses.
They're known in this area to drink, my uncle is a doctor, throughout the day. They're talking about like a case a day they drink.
Oh,
which is,
so they're right next to me then. I'm just
almost up to your level.
Almost, not quite. Julius, oh my gosh. All right, well, we're talking about the Valentine's Day pairing, and I think sometimes if you're not super familiar with wine, it can be a little intimidating, especially if you're out on a date and you're the one, God forbid, that's in charge of ordering. What is some advice that you would give to somebody who's trying to impress someone on a date, whatever it might be, but also stay true to their palate?
Yeah, well, I think you shouldn't be intimidated because whatever you decide, I think, is correct. So don't be too intimidated by it. But I think it's kind of cool to have something a little different for Valentine's Day. So I think that's why something like Brachetto, which is 5.5% alcohol, so it's lighter alcohol, adds a little bit of sweetness to it.
It's also such a gorgeous color. I want to put that out there so people can see it.
And a little fizz to it, so it's frizzante, so it has a little bit of bubbly when you're drinking it. So and I think bubbles just make things funner.
They do.
Lighter.
It almost feels like a special occasion when somebody has bubbles of some kind.
And I think the taste profile of this one, because of the berries and those kind of qualities, it goes really, really well with the chocolates. And so whether
or any of those sweets that you're having on Valentine's Day, right?
But the chocolate, especially because the chocolate and the fruit combination, this just hits all the spots.
Knocks it out of the park. All right. Well, for anybody who's salivating on the other end and wants some of these gorgeous wines, where can they find them?
Well, they can get them at Seaside here, obviously.
Right.
But you can go to your local liquor store and ask for them, and we deliver it everywhere. Just price points. The Brachetto is about $15.
Very nice.
The two Le Copains are $13, and the Prosecco Rosé, which is Brut, is $25.
So none of these will break the bank, and you will have a fantastic Valentine's Day. Thank you so much. And guys, when you ask for them, say that Julius and Marcy sent you from Wine Wednesday.
Sounds good. Hey, Mars, ask Julius if he'd be interested in traveling to Europe with all of us. I think we should take the show on the road. What do you think?
Oh, I don't even have to ask him because I'll pay him to say yes. Nicole wants to know if you're interested in traveling to Europe with us and taking us on a wine tour.
Perfect.
We're all in. We're all in.
Little conniver, you. All right, thanks, Mars. We got a great show coming up today at 3 on Great Day, Connecticut.
Kara's here with the sneak peek of what we can expect. Hey,
Yeah,
Kara.
I agree with Julius. Bubbles makes things better.
They're
All right.
fun.
All right, so we have a great show coming up on your hump day. From healthier relationships with yourself, why you really need to focus on self-love and compassion, how it can make every other relationship better. And how about throwing the best party for the big game ever? We've got the must-haves to get you ready for the big day. And teens turning TikTok into a mental health diagnosis. This is a warning from health experts.
that's not
Free
good.
Therapy Wednesday. We're going to talk about that.
All right. Thanks, Kara. Wow, really interesting stuff coming up.
Yeah.
So stay tuned at 3 for these two.
Yeah, and I'll see you at noon for the governor's budget address.
Yes. It's also streaming on WFSB Plus. Have a great day, everyone.